Okay, so I got a lot to do on here and a lot to kind of figure out as far as kind of getting this landscaped into what I want it to be. You can see I've already started to rip some stuff out here. But the biggest thing is I moved it. So I realized I needed to, at least for now, till I get some things figured out, I need to work on it as a whole. And I can't reach back there. My build desk is not big enough. This was the only real option. So I just pulled this whole thing forward. As many as plates as I needed, which it's about, I guess it's about 3.5 plates wide, 3 plates deep. I just pulled that whole thing forward so that I can work on it because I got to get this worked around. Kind of get my if I'm going to do the pathway thing, I need to get the pathway worked in here. I need to get the hills built up. I need to get this kind of divide all the way back to this corner made. I need to get this kind of worked in, this worked in and down. And it's a lot of just kind of things that I need to be able to get my hands on, large pieces of this. And then that doesn't even count the going up with this, right? And so I needed to kind of get this out closer to me. The other thing that I did, it's hard to tell in this position because it's not back there, is I've actually shifted it a half base plate this way. That was to accommodate, as if you watched the last video that I talked about Omnisile, that was to accommodate this little, I don't want to say snafu, but this little omission, if you will, to fix that problem. So that's why I've moved it over, just to give a little bit more room to kind of get out, to kind of help with that kind of funnel that I want to create with the rock work. So that's where we're at with this. We're going to do lots of kind of work. So this is going to be a little bit of an intermittent kind of update. I'm going to do a little bit of work, show you what's going on, do a little more work, show you what's going on. It's not going to be a in-process type thing because there's just no good way to film. And there's a lot of trial and error involved with this. But I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to kind of lay out what that path looks like, what this path over here looks like. I'm thinking it might kind of zigzag up this way a little bit. And then obviously I need to get that worked out, but I kind of need to get my pathways worked out so I can build the rock work kind of around it, to kind of make it all cohesive, and still somehow break apart into pieces. That's going to be the trickiest part of the whole thing. But, all right, I got lots of work to do, so I'm going to jump into that. Quick update. You can see, got this all roughed in. I'm going to do a little cave through here that will come out here. I wanted to get the kind of pathway over and around, and I didn't want to bring this out here and be kind of sketchy across here. So I thought if I got it over here easily via cave, that would make this kind of easier. And what I think I'm going to do is it's going to come out here through a cave or something. Kind of work its way down this way, and then kind of down, and then end here. This is kind of the entry point, which I know is super narrow, but I don't want to be like super obvious pathway, you know. And then it'll kind of work its way kind of up, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a quick up to come over here and go up. So that's kind of what the plan is at the moment. Obviously could change. But I think this is a great start. I'm trying to use burps, even though at the end of the day, I'm going to cover a lot of this in slopes. But I thought burps would kind of serve two purposes. First, there's a lot of connection points kind of just all over them. And so that makes it easy to add slopes and foliage and all kinds of stuff later. And then the other reason is that kind of helps me easily set kind of steps that I think are achievable to make it look good, right? So like, you know, every kind of one is another like layer to this. And I think if I kind of continue that on up, that gets me to where I want to be. And so that's kind of where I went with that. And I think it's kind of working, and it kind of helps me kind of stay on path, right? And again, it's just a quick way to kind of build height and not burn through a bunch of brick. Because while Duplo is great, you still need to burn through brick to support plates and, all kinds of other things. So I think the burps of all different varieties, I mean, I've literally used every type. Here's the little top piece. Here's the corner piece. Here's the normal burp. Here's the little burp, or lerp, or whatever they're called, merp. Anyways, so that's kind of what's going on here. Let's get a little further on this and we'll check back in. Okay, so obviously a lot of work went into this already. Working on the path way up. So path comes up here, jumps over here, winds back here, winds back this way, up through this little hole here, comes out over here, and then into the path that we already got. So that's kind of the rough idea with this. I bought a couple of these not too long ago. I put red LEDs in there to light up. And so the thought is here, I'm using kind of the burps. That's kind of like the backdrop for all of this. I'm going to cover this thing as much as possible in slopes and foliage and all kinds of things to hopefully hide the burp look. I don't mind the burp look on this side, again, but I hit that pretty well. But I want to hide it even more on this side. I want this to be much more like this type of look than that type of look. So I'm going to need a metric ton of slopes and foliage and all that. But I needed to get this kind of roughed in because if I'm going to do any sort of lights or torches or anything like that, I need to kind of know where that is and get the wires through before I start to do that. The other thing is I got some of this just kind of tacked in here. Like this is just kind of just to hold it all together. Because I'm going to work from the bottom up and kind of solidify some things. The cool thing about this is though, this currently breaks apart into a couple different pieces. So like you can see there where the pieces kind of are. So that's super cool. I'm thinking about if I have any thoughts to take this to a convention or show. It's definitely gonna have to be transportable. And so I'm trying to keep this as modular as possible. Not modular in the rearrange sense, modular in the take it apart so I can reassemble it on site type thought process. So anyways, so we got the pathway working up here, going across. That's all cool. This is all cool. I think this is about where this is going to sit because this leaves enough room that I pop this bridge out and this can swing open. The only problem with this, and maybe this isn't so much of a problem, but this is going to straddle two base plates. So that makes this all one piece. But again, maybe that's not really a problem. Honestly, in the grand scheme of it, that's probably not a problem at all because there's not going to be a lot on this side. And so having kind of one central thing on the middle of two base plates is not going to be bad at all. And then before I show you this is a very rough sketch. Like it's barely held together with anything right now aside from my hopes and dreams. But this is what I'm thinking for the top of the mountain. Yeah, it's really, I mean, you can see right there, like that's just floating there. But I just wanted to kind of see what the rough layout was, so I can get a kind of an idea of, do I want this pathway to kind of continue on past the cave entrance and come on up here? Do I want to take another pathway from that side and work its way up? Just kind of assess out what I want to happen here. Obviously this will change a little bit when I go to actually like cement the thing together. I'm thinking this will probably come to be more of a sheer straight up type thing. And this will have a little bit more areas going up. And so my thought process is I can stick in a bunch of little scenes pirate scenes on this side of the mountain. There's a bunch of those little like pirate sets, from like vintage pirate sets that are like little like jail cells or little like hidden cave scenes and stuff like that. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of stick those kind of all throughout this landscape. Maybe like one of the little Islanders sets here. I just thought it'd be fun to just kind of stick them kind of all the way up through this. And so I needed to create some landings for that to happen. And not that it will be a flat surface. Like down here, I'm probably gonna curve this out a little bit and make this not so flat, you know. Same thing here. I'm gonna probably come up and over like this and kind of carve out a little curve here. Again, it just slopes, and I have I think I have 600 or 800 coming from Lego. Hopefully in the next couple days. I have my friend Ego pulling a bunch of slopes for me, so it's never just going to be a ton of slopes, just everywhere, all over this thing to really kind of make this thing to come together and shape together. I'm going to need to collect a whole bunch of bricks as backings. I'm trying to make it pretty solid again because I do have hopes and dreams of taking this places. And so with that thought, it does need to be a fairly solid structure. So already in previous lives, I would have just kind of openly stacked these, but I actually backfilled all of these steps. You can't see, maybe you can see in there. All the steps are kind of backfilled and stuck together pretty well. And I will backfill some more as I go. And just trying to make this really solid so it will transport well. I mean, if I'm going to take this to something like Chicago, it has to ride in a car for 8-10 hours over some not great roads. So I'm trying to make it solid and yet still separable. But we're getting there. I think it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about this. This is going to slope way down and probably out to the end of this base plate. I'm going to curve this kind of, I almost knocked over a bunch of stuff. I'm going to curve this kind of out this way, similar to kind of what I did here, and where it makes kind of like a crescent. So I'm trying to make kind of like a crescent bay type thing, because then I have the little islands around here that would make it like a big circle almost for all the other little parts. So that's where we're at with this. I'm pretty excited about this project. This project has been a long time coming and has been formulating in my brain for a long time. Maybe not formulating, just kind of sitting in my brain for a long time. And it's really exciting to start to get this thing out into physical form. Make sure you like and subscribe, because obviously there's a lot more work to do, a lot more things going on. So make sure you stay tuned for some more. Thanks, y'all.